This is a description of the Quail flush system, operational in Monterey County, California. This is a computer-controlled claybird throwing system. This system was designed for Garth Conlon in the 1990s and others who love to hunt, though their mobility has decreased over time. The system allows you to increase your instinctive shooting abilities in a controlled setting. I will now describe the user levels in the Quail flush system. Effectively, user level 1 is the most predictable, scaling up to user level 6, which is the most unpredictable and like quail hunting. Effectively, the operation of level 2 is it throws 2 claybirds from the closest thrower. So at shooter stations 1 through 5, you get both the birds off of the right thrower. And there's a 2 to 3 second time delay between the claybirds. And then as you transition to shooter station 6, you get both birds off the left thrower, with again a 2 to 3 second time delay between claybirds. An example of user level 6, the hardest level, is it does a random selection with the computer. So you don't know which claybird thrower is going to go first. And it's a 50-50 chance. Additionally, the time delay between claybirds is 1 to 3 seconds. And the variation in angles is a lot larger than the lower user levels like 2. The Quail flush system has 10 shooter stations where 2 claybirds are thrown at each of the 10 shooter stations. The system behind me starts at shooter station 1 to my left, proceeds counterclockwise through the system where the shooter stops and ends the system at shooter station 10 to my right. If you're interested in seeing the quail flush system in operation, contact Ty Conlon at 408-992-5769. Send him a text message and he'll send you a system brochure. Have included in that text message your email address. If you also want to look further details on the system, you can check out patent 5470078, searching it on Google. Thank you. Ty Conlon would like to thank those who helped him put the system together, including Terry Miller, Matt Meeks, Brad Bergerman, and others. Following in this video is more footage on the system being shot at higher user levels, the computer operation, and overall system function. This is a description of the quail flush system in level 6, the highest or most difficult level of the system. It's the most difficult because it has the largest variation in angles at each one of the shooter stations. In addition to that, it also has the lowest time delay between clay birds. They can be as low as 1 second and as high as 3 seconds. Additionally, when you get to the club, the clay bird club, you check out a HECON key counter where the system will not throw birds unless this is in it. And the counter actually counts every bird that's thrown. So you don't have to have an employee down here counting the number of birds or throwing the birds at the club, reducing your overhead. I'm going to show that in use. So the person shooting enters the HECON key counter. The inner counter light goes off, presses the user selection, and then proceeds to shooting. The Quail flush system is computer controlled. It has a small microprocessor, specifically the Arduino 2560 Rev 3. Effectively, that microcontroller allows 3 variations within the system. The first is angle of flight of the clay birds. The second is time delay between the clay birds. And the third is the order of thrower selection. The Quail flush system has a user entry panel that encompasses the computer and all the electronics. This user entry panel has special features, including lights that help the shooter through the system, including inner counter, which effectively instructs the user or shooter to enter the counter before the system is used. The system will not throw a clay bird without the counter entered. This counter allows for accountability of how many birds shot, so the club does not have to have an employee at each site. There's also a select level light that instructs the shooter to select the appropriate user level that they want to shoot at. There's 6 user levels, 1 being the most predictable user level, and 6 being the more random user level that acts like actual quail hunting. It also has a system in use light if other shooters approach the system, knowing that there's somebody using the system, and safety features such as system shutdown and system reset.